All right, so thank you so much for coming in, Mr. Soto. I wanted to speak to you and give you a little bit of feedback on your walkthrough that I did yesterday, just to let you know a little grows and glows when it comes to you as a PE teacher. I do want to say thank you for letting me come into your classroom. I do appreciate all of the hard work that I saw yesterday. I love the charisma that you have. I love that how you interact with the children. I really feel like that they love you and that they have fun in PE. So correct me if I'm wrong. What grade level was that yesterday?
Fifth grade.
It was fifth grade. Okay, and so tell me, what kind of challenges do you have with fifth grade when it comes to implementing like PE lessons?
Okay. Well, probably one of the things will be the interactive part. Will be some kids probably think they're too cool to be a part of it, or whether it be that they don't get along with a certain student because of something that happened years ago.
Okay.
It's just a lot of conflict within each other and then just within themselves.
So tell me, how do you overcome that? Because I really didn't see that
Right.
inside of your class yesterday, but I did see some kids didn't want to just, maneuver like they normally do, like doing the walking and things like that.
Yeah.
So like, how do you overcome students who have those type of issues and also don't want to do what you asked them to do?
So some of the times you can't force them if they don't want to. So depending on the situation, if they just had a really rough day, then I will let them sit out. Like, hey, get a couple minutes for yourself. Do what you need to do to gather yourself, but you will need to participate. And most of the time they understand that. However, for those who just straight up don't want to, then I kind of sit them down or I exclude them and I'll talk to them saying like what's going on. If they don't talk to me, then there's not much I can do. But for those, they usually do talk to me and they tell me and I try to reason with them and say, hey, it's okay. Let's work through it, X, Y, and Z. It's not a solution permanently, but they understand that when they come to be, it can help them disconnect from what's going on and just move on and then deal with the problem later.
I like that. I like the problem and solution strategy that you have, because as an educator, students are not going to want to do what you're doing all the time. They're going to give you the pushback. They're going to make sure that you understand that, hey, I want to do this, not what you want to do. So I really like how you greet them with love and not like with like criticism of or like telling them it's either my way or the highway. Like you're giving them an option. So I do appreciate that. Before we go any further, I do want to establish a little bit of norms like we would have in any type of feedback that I would give you, just to make sure that I want you to know that this is a safe space. Whatever we talk about, of course, is between us. I'm here to help you, not criticize.
Right.
If I feel like there's something that needs to be implemented or that needs to be changed in the way that your environment is, I would come to you with solutions and not just specific problems, just saying, hey, this is what I saw. Maybe we can implement this and get your feedback. So just a couple of norms of just letting you know that I'm here for you and not to criticize you, okay?
Yeah.
So the goal for this for me, was to make sure that you understood what your necessary need is inside the classroom. So as a PE coach, what is your main goal for the students?
Well, the main goal that we have as all PE teachers throughout the district is they need to be active, whether it be walking, running, jogging, or playing the activity itself. So as long as they're walking and doing their laps, whether it be 4 or maybe 2 laps, that's my job right there for them to already complete their activity or their exercise for the day.
Okay.
However, I do wish that some of these students would like to exceed that, but you can't convince everybody.
Right, and I saw that in your class yesterday. So I did see some students were walking maybe 1 to 2 laps compared to other people doing a little bit more. And so you let them have that discretion of moving how they need to move, but as long as they're moving.
Yes.
Okay, and so when it comes to those students who are sitting down, how do you implement more of that activeness when they're sitting down? So what can we do to help them?
So usually whenever it's a student that doesn't want to participate at all, they don't want to do it because they're afraid to get hurt or they don't want to lose the game, which I've seen a lot. So usually I try to have them like, hey, like I need help to set up the game. Can you help me set up? And they'll start setting up. They move a little slow, be like, hey, can you help me out? Like I need you to be a little faster, which will motivate them to move a little faster. Because if they don't want to play, at least I'm making them exercise by moving quick and setting up the cones.
Okay.
Like that. So that's what I usually try to do.
Thank you for that, because coming in, there's only a certain amount of time that I get to see when it comes to doing an observation.
Right.
So seeing that actually changes my perspective of, well, how are we going to get these kids to move?
Right.
And I see that you do it in a different way of, oh, let me help me, you know? So that's a great way of doing that. So I do appreciate that. So I'm just going to ask a couple of reflection questions, and you let me know how you feel about the lesson that you taught yesterday with your 5th graders.
Okay.
And how did that look to you? How did that feel for you? I want to just get a feel of your feedback from yourself, and then we can go into what I saw and how we can implement different changes.
Right.
So my first question is, how do you feel the lesson went overall?
I feel like the lesson goes pretty well because, I mean, a lot of the kids love PE, so it's not a big, overwhelming problem for me to be like, oh, I had a rough day today. So I'd say overall the lesson of just exercising and knowing how to be a team, they did a pretty good job on that, I feel like, which was the main idea.
That's great, because you have a goal, an end goal in mind.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that everybody is being active. Is that correct?
And teamwork.
And teamwork.
So
okay.
usually we try to do games that are team based. Like we rarely have games where it's just one student. We try to do a lot of team based games so they understand that, hey, like you're gonna be working with people your entire life, you know, even if people that don't get along with each other, we try to work with it. If they cannot get along, then we'll separate them, but we sometimes like, hey, you have to understand that sometimes you just have to respect each other's opinions. So that is
I like that. So that's always going to be a goal, somehow, some way tied
Yes.
into that lesson. Okay. So what part of the lesson felt most successful to you?
It's always going to be the activity part, just the kids wanting to participate, and it always makes me feel good, and I know that I succeeded, especially when the kids want to keep going, especially when I push it, I try to do the last 5 minutes for them to catch their breath, drink water. I sometimes push it to the last 2 minutes because they want to keep playing, so I think that's probably what it is.
So making sure that everybody is engaged, it shows what success is for you.
Yeah.
So they're having that fun moment.
They
okay.
want to keep going.
I see that.
Yeah.
I saw that yesterday as well. I saw the joy in their faces when they were like, "Oh no, we got to stop." So that's a great reflection. So what evidence did you notice that students met this objective? So that kind of tied in a little bit of what you just said, just them being excited and not wanting to stop.
Yes. So it's also hard because, especially with how we're doing the activity for 5th grade this year, is 2 students that never really talk to each other from different classes that are working together for the first time. So a lot of the kids, especially the boys, who are very competitive, they see a girl and they're like, oh, I don't want to be with a girl because X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
But then you realize that the girl is more athletic than the boy, and then they realize like, oh, I want to be competitive, and it kind of gives it that great competitiveness of working together,
right,
but also going against each other in a positive way.
Oh, that's great. That is great evidence, though, to have that and to show. Like, how do you write that down? How do you track that? Like when I'm asking you for evidence, and when you come in for like a summative, how do you track that?
The best way I track it is pay attention to the kids. At least the way I do it, I take mental notes about how a kid is. For example, Zachary Mayo, you know, he's very athletic at what he does, regardless of his accident. But you also have someone like Case, who's very active. But there's other girls in that group that like to be competitive, like Emily Sanchez, who's very competitive and very active. So if I put them together, I know that they're going to try to go against each other, which is always good, but I try not to because it could drive a wedge. So it's always taking mental notes like, okay, I know he could work well with this person, but not this other person. So I try to have mental notes, or if not, I try to remember other classes. But I try to write that down as much as I can.
Right. And I think because I see you have your iPad here, maybe with your iPad, because I know y'all listen to a lot of music in there to keep them engaged. Maybe for Apple, they have those notes sections. Maybe you could just put that in there as you're going. Because even, I know y'all have to wear your AirPods and stuff. You can just be like, hey, Siri, make a mental note of this. Maybe that can help you along the way. And then we can find a better tracker for you, like a different solution of how you can get that taken care of when it's something for you, okay? So I think that'd be something really simple, right? Okay, so which students seemed most engaged? I know you say that the more active ones seem most engaged, but have you seen any of the ones that want to sit out? When have they been the most engaged?
So, like I said, it's usually whenever they want to help. So those that don't want to engage, they get very excited whenever I ask for help. So it mostly comes to that, and there are moments where they see a game that they want to participate in because this may be something they're not used to. For example, I have a third grader who gets in trouble a lot. You may know him. He tends to have issues restraining himself, controlling himself, and stuff like that. But when we introduced him to the game, he was a natural, and suddenly he was listening to everything. I was telling him like, "Hey, be careful with this. Do it like this." He would listen to it. He did it perfectly. It was so well to the point that even Coach Cook was saying that he should try for the football team next year.
Oh, that's great.
So it's always those that don't want to participate that accidentally end up falling in love with something that they never thought they would want to do. Because he didn't try out this year. Because he didn't think he was good.
Right.
But we played a game that was similar to flag football, and he liked it. So now he's considered.
So y'all building the confidence. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
And they don't know they have it.
Yeah.
They don't know
And this is giving me, and the reason why I'm asking you all of these self-reflection questions is because it gives me a better understanding of what I was looking at inside of your classroom. So understanding where you're coming from helps me better understand how the feedback I can give you, right?
Right.
So, let's talk about the instructional reflection. Let's go inside of that. So how effective do you think your transitions were? So I know we have different games that go with different teaks, but how do you think the transition is from one setting of the game to the next setting of the game?
I'm still figuring that part out specifically, just because being one of the first time teachers out here, I'm still kind of figuring out my rhythm. So the transition, it's kind of hard, mostly because I'm not used to doing one sport and switching it to the next. You know, I like staying in one path, so I guess I'm still figuring out how to do the transition aspect of the sport. Because a kid likes soccer, they love the last guy switched to soccer, but then the other half loves basketball and hated soccer, and it just reverses constantly. So it's hard to keep that transition positive, I guess.
Okay. And so maybe something that we can do to help with that is when we're about to transition, maybe have a break in between, like the little water break, and then, get them prepared mentally of, oh, we're about to go into the next, activity. If, we do XYZ, maybe later on we can go back to this activity, but this is the rotation that we're going to. Maybe we can implement the agenda of, oh, we're going to start here, go here, and then if we do what we need to do, we'll go back here. So maybe that can help with the transition, because students love to know what's about to happen. Right. And then they love consistency. So when it comes to that, we want to be able to be sure that they know, oh, okay, well, Mr. Soto's going to tell me basketball is first. Yeah. Let me get my mind right. Oh, and then soccer's going to be next. But then you got to have that transition with the timer. Right. So we got 30 minutes, and y'all are wonderful at that. Right. 30 minutes go off. All right, quick water break. Let's do our transition into soccer. All right, we got 30 minutes. All right, we're done with that water break. We're about to transition back into basketball. So maybe they can help you out. But as long as they have that consistency, I think that would help out. The next question is, do you think your students understand questions clearly? Like when I'm saying questions, it's more so like directions. Do you think that you're giving them that in a clear way? Because remember, you have 1st through 5th grade. So the way that you give directions in 1st grade would be different in 5th grade. Yeah. So let's reflect on that.
I want to say that maybe I have a hard time with 1st grade, mostly because their attention span is everywhere. It's kind of hard for me to have them focus, especially when I'm not used to dealing with the younger kids. So I feel like as I go up within the grades, it shifts constantly. I want to say that with 1st grade is the hardest because, like I said, it's just constant kind of miscommunication, or they didn't understand a word that I said, and they don't ask question, and that's where kind of the clash becomes. With 5th grade, they understand pretty well. I don't have a hard time repeating myself with them. They understand what needs to be done. They know what needs to be done.
Right.
So I think my biggest issue will probably be from 1st and 2nd, and then 3rd is like the middle ground, and then 4th and 5th are probably my easiest one.
So when you're saying that they have an issue with understanding the directions, how do you relay it to them? Like, what are you saying?
So it could be as simple as, hey, make sure we stay in line, and like go ahead and get on the brown line. And I can say that to a fifth grade, and they know which brown line I'm talking about. But however, these first graders, you know, they're new to the school. They still don't understand how this the system works here, so they're still getting used to it. So that would slip my mind, and they'll go line up at a brown line way over yonder.
Right.
So, and then I'll be like, oh, I forgot, and then I have to explain to them.
Right.
Instead of doing that the first time that I should have done it. So I'm still like trying to tell myself, like, hey, this is first grade, this is not fifth grade. You can't have the same standards.
So just like we have in the classroom, I would implement an I do, we do, you do type of method. So an I do is you show them where you want them to go. Say the words and do the movements at the same time. Because first grade is very, see. They have to see everything. So for the I do, okay, guys, I'm going to the brown line. You go to the brown line. This is the brown line. I'm going to sit right here. I'm going to stand right here. All right, guys, I'm going to do this. So that's the I do model. And then you say, all right, guys, let's try this together. We're not going to start the game until we try this together. All right, everybody walk to the brown line. So now that you're showing them you did it yourself, now you're about to do it with them so they understand, oh, this is what this looks and feel like. Okay. And then when it's the you do, that's when the game starts. Okay, guys, I showed you what the brown line is. And then sometimes you can ask them back. All right, guys, point to the brown line. I'm going there. And then you can see, you can have that feedback. Okay. They know what they're saying. So that's something I would implement with first and second grade.
Okay.
Then third grade, of course, you want to make it more rigorous. And you say, all right, guys, I'm going to go explain this one time. I'm going to go here, here, here. Do you understand the steps? Talk to me back. What's first step? Here. What's the second step? Here. Third step? Here. So it's all about, and you have a military background. Yeah. So you know that if you can go, they'll understand it for third grade because fourth and fifth grade get it too.
Yeah.
So I think if we could implement that type of feedback, I think you'll be okay.
Okay. Yeah. No,
so
for sure.
We can take that. So the next question is, how do you monitor your students during activity? Now, I know you have you do first through fifth grade level, but I've seen how you monitor, but what does monitoring look like in your mind? How does that feel?
Well, first things first, I think it has to do, like you said, my military background. I'm like wired to do things. We were growing up, we got told from right to left. I do everything the complete opposite. Like I look at the kids from the far back and then start working my way forward because I get to see the kids in front of me. I try to pay attention to the kids who I know may cause an issue here and there. Sadly, I wish I didn't have to, but you always got to make sure that kid is safe, or maybe even the clumsy ones, the one that trips over, falls over, the one that can't stay seated, So I kind of make a mental checklist of like, okay, so-and-so cannot sit still, let me check on them. Now, it's not like I'm constantly on them, but it's just the back of my head, like, hey, every couple of times, if I look this way, let me check that one student, and then I kind of make that loop around every once in a while.
But that's a great strategy, though, because in your lesson, you want to make sure that everybody is engaged.
Yes.
You want to make sure that everybody is safe. So with you doing that, that's like clockwork. So I feel like that's a great strategy to use.
Yeah.
So I think that's perfect. What instructional strategies worked best for you yesterday in your lesson?
I think that at least for me, because I'm still figuring it out, obviously, I will have to say it's just the energy. I think it's especially having a long day, it's hard to keep that energy up. But if I'm excited, they're gonna be excited. But I can't always do that. I can't always be excited.
You're human.
Yeah, exactly. And they see that, and it's hard for me to like kind of pick it back up because then when I'm not excited, I see that they're not like, oh well, like whatever. So I guess I'm still trying to figure out like what can I do instead of like using my whole battery. If that makes sense. I don't know
so you don't want it does. It makes perfect sense. So I mean, as an educator, we always have to put our best person forward. And I know you have a lot of classes. So to do that, you do have a lot of energy. So what I would say is, of course, first and second, you got to work a little bit harder. But systems, once you implement different systems to help you run the classroom fully, then we can see that I don't have to do as much. What I mean by that is, in first grade, you have a certain amount of students who understand. Right. Have them be the ones to work some type of stations. Let the kids do the work. You want to be able to facilitate. You are a facilitator, not the worker. So remember, the queen bee, she sits there in the beehive. All the rest of the bees work around her. So once you set that tone in your classroom to where you say, okay, well, we're about to do soccer. They know soccer. They love soccer. What do we need to do? You show them, all right, balls go here, people line up here. So maybe you have a ball person. Maybe you have a line leader to put people together. Maybe you have a countdown person. You want to build capacity in your students so they know what to do, because you want them to take accountability of their learning.
Right.
So if you find a way to say, hey, who do I trust the most that I can put in charge of X, Y, Z to help me out? Because once they see the kids do it, they're going to be like, oh, I want to do it next. I want to do it next. So you have to show them what to do the first way, then let them take over.
Okay.
So that's just like a strategy that we could use to assist with that. Okay. So it's just all about knowing your students, knowing who could be a leader, or who you can build in the capacity of a leader, right, and just take ownership of the jobs that they have. Okay. That's what I would try to implement.
I can do that.
Yes. So we talked a lot about student engagement. So we're going to talk just a little bit more about the re-engaged students. Let's say it's hot outside, right? Yesterday we were inside because it was raining. And let's say we go outside. I heard that you said that when they're inside, you let them help you, like, with certain things. But we're outside now. They don't want to play. They don't want to go out there and walk the laps. How do we re-engage those students? It's a hard question to know.
Yeah, because that is a big issue, because we are coming around that time of year where it does get hot. Even myself, I don't want to be outside in that hot, but I know if there's a dance going on, we have to step outside, because I lose control if you don't open the walls. You know? So I would usually say, whenever we go outside, I try to reward them, because whenever we go outside, the playground's out there, so they know if they see the playground, they're gonna want their free time. So I usually tell them, like, hey, if you do X amount of laps, which is usually 4, or depending on how, be like maybe just 2, 3, whatever the case may be. Do your laps. You can walk them, you can run them. You decide. As long as you finish your laps, you're free to go. Go to a playground, go under the roof, because I know they like playing under the roof sometimes. And some of the times they just walk around, talk. That's probably one time they get to catch up with their friends. It kind of builds a camaraderie around the classroom. And then after that, then they go play. Most of the time, even the kids that don't want to play, they end up getting on the swing. They end up going down in the slide, and that right there is already the activity for the day. They get their exercise, because they're
just
moving around. They end up heart pumping. That's the main goal of it.
Just making a move.
Even if they don't want to play soccer, for example, once they hear, oh, you got free time, they're going to do whatever they want for their free time. So it usually succeeds.
So you like incentives. That's what
basically,
you're using.
Yes.
Okay. And maybe, and if I could offer a suggestion, I don't know if that's something that you can do for PE, but sometimes the track does get hot. What if they could do their laps, like down and backs, underneath the basketball court? How many of those count as a lap? So they have the shade, and then of course they have their water, so they can be able to maneuver around when it comes to PE. So that, just a suggestion, because I do see y'all out there all the time, and I really do feel like, in Texas it gets super hot. So like, what can we do to keep them safe? And maybe that could be a suggestion.
No, I could do that. It would probably be easier to keep them out of the sun.
And because overheating,
that'd
be great.
I don't want a heat casualty.
Yes, overheating, right?
Yeah.
So I know a lot of this is structured fun, and some of this is unstructured fun. How do you find the balance in that? Because I saw you yesterday in your classroom observation, and I saw a lot of structured fun. But then there were some students who were like, I'm gonna take off the wall, and I'm gonna do what I want to do. How do you handle that?
So that's where it kind of falls into who the student is. Like I said, maybe it's the clumsy one, maybe it's the one kid I need to keep an eye on. If most of the time it's the kids just having a hard day. So I try to make sure, like, hey, if that student is not having a good time, step them out to the side, like, hey, just understand this is why we're doing it. So I explain to the student why you can be jumping off the walls, or why you can be, for example, going backwards on the track because you could run into somebody. So the unstructured part of the class, I try to avoid it as much as I can, because it just becomes unsafe in a classroom, just like it would be in any classroom. Like if some kids start throwing their pencil around or flipping the milk carton, whatever the case may be, it just causes a mess. So I understand sometimes you're not going to be paying attention.
Right.
So instead of telling them, no, you shouldn't be doing that, I tell them, like, hey, the reason I don't want you to do this is because X, Y, and Z. You can hurt somebody, you can hurt yourself, or you can hurt someone else. You know, so I try to explain it the best I can.
So I think I believe I saw that yesterday. You pulled a child to the side and was like, hey, let's just talk for a moment. While everybody was still having that structured fun. And I think that was a really good teacher move that you did right there, because children don't like to be criticized in front of other children.
Yeah.
So when you pulled that student to the side and you spoke to them, I was like, oh, good job, you know, because I know this is your first year doing this.
Yeah.
And so that's a really big teacher move for you to give that privacy, to give that understanding to the student, so they know, like, hey, he's not trying to belittle me in front of everybody. And it gives that sense of ownership to the student who doesn't want to be like, oh, okay, yeah, I know I messed up, but I don't want you to lecture me in front of the class.
Right.
So you did an amazing job with that yesterday.
Thank you.
So I keep doing all of that. And so I'm really glad that we were able to get to talk about your reflections, because that is a major part of getting feedback from me as your appraiser. And I just want you to know that you've done a wonderful job. Of course, no matter what, there's going to be growth, right? And the next part of this, we're going to talk about growth and just implement some more strategies, and then talk about how we can, what are the goals that we're going to set for the next time I come in. Okay. So a few type of things that I have for you, you know, just for you to reflect on, is just that and you explained it well. So in my notes, I saw that a lot of the kids were, not a lot, but some of the kids were just sitting there and not wanting to participate. But I didn't see that you told them to come help you and things like that. And that would have been a great, you know, segue for me, like, oh, he did this.
Yeah.
Great teacher move, you know? So just like you told me, let's keep implementing them getting up, moving around, being able to keep those legs moving, that heart pumping, and then just taking an extra mile. Well, you're already moving, might as well get out there and get in the game, you know? So like, encourage them into doing that. Of course, we don't want to pressure them, but I like how you're finding different ways outside of the box to keep the kids motivated and engaged. Okay. So that's a really great thing. Also, I want you to work on more systems. And I want to help you with that. I want to give you some type of strategies. I want to show you how the system works. Maybe I can come in and show you how this works so you can see me model it. And then we can come back and see how you can do it, right? Okay. I feel like if I'm telling you to do something, I should be able to model it for you, right? So I want to come in during your first and second grade classes, see what you're doing, take some more notes, and say, hey, let's do it like this, and let's see if that works. And then we can come to a common ground and say, hey, you know, Ms. Hayden, this worked really well. Or Ms. Hayden, that didn't work at all. Right. And maybe we can, you know, tweak it a little bit and figure out what's best for you. That can be the best outcome for the students. Okay. So systems is another big thing that I would like to do. I also want you to start building leadership capacity in your students. That means giving jobs. So in PE, what type of jobs do you see that you can give a first grader?
Maybe the picking up equipment, same as passing out equipment if there's any that needs to be passed out. The ball holder, because we do have somewhere to hold the balls in. I can have somebody go get the bucket. Door holder, I know that's something I always love. They have the line leader and what was the last one?
The caboose.
The caboose.
The caboose.
Yes, I know they're always talking about the caboose, and they're always asking if they can be the caboose, and I'm just like, I don't know what that is. So I'm still kind of learning these stuff too that these kids really want to do, but I don't know what they are.
And see, that's something that is probably, you know, that you want to do, but you don't know because of the vocabulary.
Yes, exactly.
And a lot of the vocabulary that's happening inside the classrooms can't happen inside of PE. So the cross-curricular, that's called cross-curricular, that's where whatever they're doing in the classroom, you can do inside of PE as well. So if you know that you're having Miss Allen's class come in, you can ask Miss Allen, hey, Miss Allen, who's your line leader in here? Who's your caboose? Okay, we're going to implement that inside of PE. And like, it's just a quick little conversation before they come in, right? And then, okay, Miss Allen, who's been having a bad day today? So you know if they're having a bad day, they're going to come to PE and probably have another bad day. So then they can help you start moving that equipment, help you start doing that. And so if attitudes become a situation, you can say, all right, these are my job people for today. These are your roles. You have a whiteboard in there. Use it. Okay. So like and you want to get excited with that because they take ownership in their own jobs, and they do it in the classroom, so I'm pretty sure they will do it in PE. So let's try to do some of that, Okay. For third grade, I do know they talk a lot. I'm so sorry for that. They talk a lot. So use that to your ability. How can we get these third graders that talk so much to be more engaged in PE with talking? Because telling them, be quiet, don't talk, don't do this, they're going to rebuttal. They're going to do something different. So I would say, of course, group work, the I do, we do, you do model. And then, of course, do some turn and talks. All right, guys, I know y'all want to talk, but we got to do this first, and then I'm going to have you talk to your friend. What does jogging consist of? All right, talk to your friend. What is jogging? Let them talk, blah, 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 blah. All right, we're bringing it back in 3, 2, 1. You're going to have to let them talk. One thing that happens in the classroom, if they don't talk, it's over with. They're going to be like, why am I here? Why am I doing this? So we want to encourage the talking, but make it academically.
Okay.
Make them think outside the box. Now, again, I can come in and model that for you. I can come in and show you, what does academic talk look like in PE? How can I help my third graders continue to do what they love, but bring it back into where it's affecting, benefiting me instead of affecting me?
Okay.
So think about that. I see the wheels turning.
Yeah.
Think about that. How can I help that out, right?
Yeah.
Then we want to talk about what opportunities do our students have to at least verbalize what they want to do in PE. I know sometimes we're stuck with, this is what the TEKs say, this is what the learning is saying, but yes, this is what they say, but staying within the curriculum, how can I give them ownership? So like for an example, what's one of your TEKs that you have? Like what is one of the objectives that y'all use?
Basically, one of the main things is to locomotor skills.
Okay.
Just being able to learn how to skip, run, gallop, jog, just for them to know and have their body be able to do those things. So those are one of the main things we try to focus on.
So then I would ask, just do a little poll, just talk. Hey guys, how do you like to skip? What type of thing do you like to skip?
Right.
Or hey guys, how do you know how to, if I wanted you to run, what type of activity would you like to do with running? Because once they figure out what they want to do, it's going to be more engaging. It's going to change your whole classroom. They're going to stop all that talking. They're going to stop trying to like, oh, I don't want to do this. Oh, I want to do that. It's going to stop all of that. And it's going to show them the ownership of the classroom. And then your battery is not going to die faster.
So have them basically make the class with the class.
Yes. That's called class ownership. So like one thing inside of the classroom, we make rules together. These are our classroom rules. How do you want the teacher to talk to you? How do you want to talk to the teacher? How do you, when it comes to discipline, how do you want discipline to be? How do I want discipline to be? You know, so it's just like, this is how the teacher wants it to be. This is how the students want it to be. And we come together as a whole. So maybe next year going into your role, y'all can talk about the norms of PE. And you do that with every class just to get their voices. And then you just, I wouldn't say memorize it, but just keep that mental note. And just to have that strategy, because some kids don't like to be talked a certain way.
Right.
Some kids don't like to be told to do this or do that. So we just want to be sure that we're on the same page when it comes to discipline, how to connect with them, how to talk to them. And then I promise you, it'll change the way that your classroom flows. Okay. So another one is, of course, y'all use timers, but I want to see more timers. Timers in your transitions. I want to see timers with the water fountain. I want to see timers when it comes to letting them talk. I want to see timers when they're lining up. Like that is going to change everything. And I keep saying your military, yes, use that to your advantage. You can even teach them military time. You see what I'm saying? Like being able to show the kids into a different world is going to help advance them in an academic way. So if you want to give them a time of say, all right, guys, 5 minutes or 5 seconds to line up, 5, 4, 3, you'll see the difference, the pace, the change of everybody moving. So like those transition times are very important. The more time that you let them talk about unnecessary things or let them have leisure to move, you're going to have chaos. So have that structure of 5, 4. All right, I'm only giving you 3 seconds to get water. 3, 2, next person. 3, 2. Once they know your routine, they're going to know it and you're going to be consistent with it, okay? So let's talk about vocabulary.
Okay.
Being able to use the same vocabulary that's in the classroom in your room is going to change the way that your PE classroom flows.
Right.
So maybe go into some classrooms, see what they're doing in there, see how they're saying. Maybe on your break time, just go in and just look in and be like, oh, this is how this runs. Because no matter what, everybody can do the same thing inside the classroom. It's pedagogy. Pedagogy means that you know classroom management. Pedagogy means that you know how to treat the children. So if you walk into my classroom, you're going to see me timers. That's what I told you to put in. Rules. That's what we say establish. Routines. That's what people need to have. Because children feed on routines. They need routines. So if it's something different every day, their mind does not click well. They'll be like, oh, wait a minute, this is something different. And that does cause a lot of behavior. Yeah. So if we can look at our lesson plan, see what we can do to keep the same routine. Yes, it can be a different activity, but how can it go?
Right.
So that's something that we should look forward to. Okay. And then before we leave out of here, I want to do a SMART goal. I want to do 3 SMART goals. So when we're talking about SMART goals, we want to be able to tie them into math, reading, science, technology. Like, I want it to be something that you can try to extend cross-curricular. So I'm going to give you a piece of paper, and I just want you to write down 3 different goals for yourself. I'm going to give you some time to do that. Just 3 different goals, just based off the feedback that we had today. What type of goals would you give yourself to help you become, help your lesson become a little bit better? So just 3 different goals. I'll give you some time for that.
Trying to think about a way to word it. We're just talking about it. It's how would you word for me not to the energy part that we were talking about?
So I would say responsibility roles, like job roles,
Okay.
and then routines. So better routines.
Okay.
Because that's a part of those jobs, routines.
The third one's where I'm stuck at now.
Okay. So based off of, and we did talk about how to implement different directions with pivoting with outside heat. So what can we still do outside that gets them moving, like maybe walking different lines underneath the basketball court, like.
So I guess to find, I don't want to say better activities, but more
weather conditioned activities, because it is outside in that heat.
Well, it's like I don't want to do like the basic just run laps. I
Right.
do like the idea of like doing basically running back and forth. And, I guess have better activities.
I wouldn't so much say better activities. I would say
something different.
Pivoting different activities based on weather.
Okay.
We can say that. Those are great goals, right? And then once we get these goals taken care of, we can do cross-curricular activities with them.
Okay.
So, if they get a math problem right, they can run, maybe 1 lap or half a lap, based off a math problem, right?
Okay. All right. Oh, this pen is.
I know, it's crazy, right?
All right. So I got my 3.
Okay.
First one, I would have to say better communication for all grades, even with 5th grade and 4th grade. Even though I said I'm pretty good with them, I still want to there are some students that I have barriers with, which I don't have to be friends with all of them,
Right.
but I would like to be able to communicate with them better.
Right.
You know?
Just to have a better social, emotional relationship.
Exactly. No matter who the kid is.
Yeah.
Better routines.
Okay.
So a better way to have my classroom run, you know, in case if I'm not there, they would still
Right.
be able to follow that routine.
Right.
You know, so on and off the court type of routine. Then number 3, we were just talking about the pivot activities based on weather. You know, I know especially right now that a lot of our activities are outside, but all week it's been raining. It kind of makes it harder, and
Right.
then suddenly I have to come up with something on the spot.
Right.
So just, I guess, find good activities that I can adapt to.
And then, and if you plan for that, and I know it's a lot, but it's best to have a plan B than nothing at all.
Right.
So when we're doing our lesson plans, we want to make sure that we plan for stuff inside and plan for stuff outside. Okay. So let's talk about a follow-up plan. I want to see these goals.
Okay.
I want you to achieve these goals when I come back in and see your next walkthrough.
Okay.
So let's talk about how we want to reflect on these together. So when I say, okay, Soto, let's talk about better communication. How did that look for you when I come in for the next one? So when we come in, I'm going to say, what was the better communication for you? You could either tell me I implemented these new rules for them that helped me communicate with my first grade better by saying this is my I do, we do, you do model. Like I really want to see that with your first and second grade. Making sure that you said, oh, I showed them how to do this first, and then I walked them through it next, and then I let them do it on their own.
Okay.
That's building that accountability, okay? And then when it comes to better routines, I want to see the kids run in the classroom. Not just like, oh, it's my say, not Mr. Soto, but they know their routines. When you tell them it's soccer time, I should be able to see the kids moving to those stations and taking care of the balls and things like that.
Okay.
And then pivoting activities based on weather. I should be able to see that in your lesson plan as well.
Okay.
So to see this is what happens indoor, and then this is what happens outdoor, and then to be able to see it. Maybe I'll come in and it's raining one day. And so it doesn't look like you're running with a chicken with his head cut off.
Right.
I should be able to see that, oh, I had this planned out already.
Okay.
So be prepared when it comes to different things, okay? So these are a few closing questions that I would love to ask.
Perfect.
What is one takeaway from today's conversation that you felt was great?
Honestly, everything. But if I had to choose one thing, I would probably say the communication part.
Okay.
You know, I like I said, first and second grade are my biggest issues, not because of how the kids act, but
Right.
because of how I communicate with them.
Right.
Yeah.
And you got to give yourself grace too,
Right.
because this is your first year, and as adults, we tend to lean more to the older kids because they understand clearly, like their mind is developed more, not knowing that first and second grade can do the same thing, but we just have to learn ourselves how to communicate with them. So just give yourself grace on
I like that.
Okay?
Okay.
So they can do the same thing, sometimes better. First and second grade is sometimes better too.
Better than me sometimes.
So
Okay.
what is one strategy you plan to implement immediately? So starting tomorrow, what is one thing you want to put in that classroom?
So it has to do. I think it has to do with the better routines too. Whenever I was in after school, I mean, you saw me in after school. I ran a tight ship.
Yeah.
So probably bringing back I know we say Carol and they say codes, but I feel like they kind of get bored of that easily.
Right.
So I say ears, they say click. No, they say ears and they say open, open ears. Eyes, click, they click to me. Stuff like that, just because they know that if I say that, then they know that's me saying that.
Right.
And they're not looking for who said that, you know?
Right.
Doing countdowns, like you said, I used to do that too. One thing they'll say is, all right, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and they say 0, and then they will say, done, sir.
Oh,
So that's
okay.
something that I used to do back then. I haven't done it just because for some reason I thought that's too much.
No, it's
But
never
I
too
guess-
much.
I guess now that I've realized the difference from then and now, I'm like, you know what? Maybe it wasn't too much. It was just very good structure.
There you go.
So I would probably need to bring that back for sure.
And that's called call to action. Those are what
Okay.
those call like callbacks or call to action. So like in my classroom, I sing the little Dr. Pepper baby, and the
Yeah.
kids say good ice do do do. So
Yeah.
like that's getting their attention.
Right.
So when you're getting those callbacks, those call to attentions, things like that, you want to be able to make it to you. So when the kids hear you, they know, oh, that's Mr. Soto. I got to get it together. Each
Okay,
classroom has those, so it's okay for you to have that in yours as well.
Okay.
That's why I'm saying get into those classrooms, and you'll be able to
what they
see
have.
what you're doing is exactly what everybody else is doing.
Okay.
We want everybody to be cohesive. Okay?
Yeah.
So the next thing is, what support do you need from me moving forward?
I would say probably just, there's always gonna be that one kid that's just having a rough day, whatever the reason may be. And I wish I could give my time to that kid,
Right.
But then it's also the same day that the rest of the class is just not following instructions, So I'm having the student that's having this issue, and I can't focus on them, but I can't do it when I have a whole class. So I guess kind of like helping out, making sure that there's someone there whenever I need them, because it's kind of hard whenever I'm focused on two things at the same time, and I
Right.
need a student to have more focus.
Right.
Sadly, I don't want to say it like that, but
I mean,
sometimes
but
a
that's the
student
reality,
needs,
right?
Yeah,
Yes.
So I guess just the appearance of
Okay.
being there and letting them know, or basically letting the class know, like, hey, there will be repercussions,
Right.
or don't worry, we will go ahead and hold you.
Right.
We need to hold you for a bit. It's not just me by myself.
I get that. And as administrators their presence change a lot of things, right?
exactly.
And so I guess being there for you as well, the appearance of making sure that they know the routines before going inside of PE, that would possibly be a good thing for us to do as well.
And it also helps out because a lot of students get really surprised when they find out that I have rules to follow, or I have to follow you, for example.
Right.
Like they have to follow me, I have to follow you for
Right.
that same. So seeing that I'm also in the same boat as them, knowing that I also have rules and expectations
Right.
to follow, will kind of also show them,
Yeah, that'd be
So-
great. And I don't mind helping you out. And
Right.
even if you need me to come in, I'll help you out, do all of that. I'm here to support you. I want you to be the best that you can be, and anything that I need to show you, I'm here for. But I'm going to say thank you so much for your openness, your professionalism. Thank you for letting me come inside of your classroom yesterday. And thank you for your honest feedback on your reflections and what I can do to support you better. Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're
Thank you for having me.
welcome.